Hello everyone and welcome to this first tutorial about how to use Excel. And I'm going to talk to you today about what I consider to be the golden rule of spreadsheets, which is to never write numbers in a formula. There are many good reasons to do this, and I'm going to try to convince you with small examples why it is a good idea. So we're going to start with an example that doesn't have math that is very complicated, so we can focus on the technicality of using Excel. Let's say that's really good news. I got enough money to buy a house, and I found a house that I like, and this house costs me $300,000. And my objective with this sheet is to figure out how long it's going to take me to pay the mortgage completely if I have an interest rate of 4% and I can pay every month $3,000. So how long is it going to take me, and how much is there going to be paid in interest each month? So I start with month number 1. I have a balance of 300,000, and first I need to calculate how much interest I'm going to pay. So I hit the equal sign and I refer to the actual balance. Then I multiply by 4%, the interest rate. But 4% is the rate for the whole year, and I'm going to make a payment every month. So I have to divide this by 12. So this first month, I'm going to give $1,000 in interest. The last formula we have to write is how much is there going to be left in the balance the next month. So I refer to the balance of the previous month minus the $3,000 I'm going to give each month. But then there is this amount of interest that does not contribute into lowering the balance. It's just money that I'm giving away to my banker. I love him dearly. So I have this amount left to pay. And then you just copy paste. And since I have paid a little bit on the balance, the interest is not as low as the month before. And then if you want to know more, you just copy paste. Now this is a bit like a cooking show when they tell you that these cookies go into the oven for 30 minutes and then they take out some cookies that are just ready from the oven right away, and it's because they prepared it in advance. So I did the same thing, and I prepared the whole sheet in advance, and I have added a graph to discuss more easily what is the result of the calculation. So it takes roughly 10 years to complete the payment. And now what happens if I have shopped around a little bit and I realize that I can get a better rate than 4%, that I might be able to get 3.5. So let's see what impact it has. Well, if I want to make the change everywhere in the sheet, it means that I have to change a lot of numbers in many different cells. And this is not elegant, this is error prone, and it's time consuming. So I would like to have a better way of doing it. And let's say, for example, I also got promoted and I can pay more each month. I want to pay $3,500. Same thing, I would have to change it for many cells. So you figure out that there's a better way of doing it, which is not to write these two numbers in the formula and to write those numbers in one cell and then to refer to the cell. This is what I have done in this other tab. I have written here yearly interest rate. So I identify what this number is, and then I put the number on the side. This is very important because you have to say what this number is. If there's a number floating in your spreadsheet, you're not necessarily going to remember what it means 2 months from now. Or if someone else is looking at your sheet and they haven't talked to you, maybe they're not going to know. So if you write what the number is and then the number, then it becomes very obvious. So here I have monthly interest rate, and I take this yearly interest rate and I divide by 12. Now I know I just told you that we're never supposed to write numbers in a formula, and here I'm doing it. This is kind of an exemption. I think that when it's very obvious what you're doing, like we are going from a yearly to a monthly interest rate, So it's obvious that this 12 here means I take this interest rate and I divide it by the number of months in the year. This is the same thing as if you would be computing the area of a circle. You would do radius exponent 2 times pi. Like this exponent 2, you don't have to create a separate cell and then say, okay, this is the 2, that means that I'm squaring the radius. It's obvious. We just have to be practical because you want to put in cells the numbers that might change or that are likely to change or that you actually want to play with. And, you know, we're not very likely to change the number of months in a year. So I have here the monthly payment and then the property value. And here you can see that those formulas here, they don't contain any number, they contain references to other cells. And this has many advantages. I have already mentioned them. Is if you are, you're working on this and then you go work on something else and you come back to your spreadsheet 3 months from now, 1 year from now, and you don't remember what you did, and you don't necessarily want to go and think again and do the logic process to get to the same formula. If you click on the cell and you see, oh, okay, that's what I did. I did balance minus monthly payment minus the plus the interest, and oh yeah, it makes sense. That's what I did. Or if you are working in a team, which is highly likely that it's going to happen at least at some point in your life, and you're not necessarily going to talk all the time to your coworkers. You might send your Excel sheet to your coworkers, or you might get audited by your professional association if you're an engineer or if you're an accountant. They might want to understand right away what it is you wanted to do. You might avoid them getting pissed off and asking more questions than they should. So these are some of the advantages. And then you can see that it's quite cool now. I can change the interest rate. I can put 3.5, and then every single cell in this column will have the reference changed to 3.5. I don't even have to think about it. And you can see that switching from 4 to 3.5 does not make a big difference in how long it's going to take me to pay the mortgage. But if I suddenly get promoted, or I decide that I spend less on other stuff and I can put more, I can put 3,500 each month, that will cut drastically, drastically 2 years from how long it's going to take me to pay the mortgage. So that's a really good idea. One last thing I wanted to say was that there are many features of a spreadsheet that depends on you not putting numbers but referring to cells in your formula. For example, the solver or formula auditing. These are really cool features that we're going to explore in other videos, and you're going to see that it works miracle if you are referring to other cells. So thank you for listening, and I'll see you for the next tutorial.